Hi, everybody. How are you? It's good to see all of you. I hope that everyone is having a good week. Hey, Frank Meister, how are you? Hi, Rob Lee, how are you? Hey, Mindy Harris. Hey, Tech Death, how are you, my dear? I miss you. Hi, Sharon. Hey, John, how are you? Good to see you. Hey, Dustin Andrew. Hey, Joe Moser, how are you? So good to have you with me. Hey, Danger Dave, welcome. Always good that you're in the house. Hi, Mitzi Scott, how are you? Oh, Mindy, me too. Trust me. I learned that the hard way this past weekend. Hey, Salty Beach. Oh, hi, Rescue All the Dogs. How are you, my dear? Oh, Miranda, you are so kind. Thank you. Hi, Sees Through. How are you? Thank you, Danger Dave. Hey, GonZo. How are you, my dear? So good to see you. Hey, Camaro lover. Welcome. Hey, Colette Henson. Welcome. Good to see you as well. Yeah, it's really good to see all of you. So I went to Delphi this past weekend for Randy Gravitt's memorial walk for Abby and Libby that was held at the trails. And I am just beyond words, you guys. I met some of the most amazing people and just kind and just wonderful people. And on top of that, I finally got to put together in my mind for myself the flow of the crime. Walking the trail to the bridge and walking back, of course we were all chatting and there was talking and all of that going on, but I was also allowing my mind to kind of wonder how things may have transpired and how they may have felt that day. It was an absolutely gorgeous weekend. Randy could not have picked a better day and weather-wise for this walk because it was beautiful out there. So sunny, and it was just a crisp fall day. It was warm. It was just pure wonderful as far as the beauty. I'm from Illinois, 3 hours away from Delphi, and what's really interesting is that the landscape and everything around Delphi is very similar to where I live. So I wasn't really surprised by what I saw because it's the same kind of landscape that I am um, used to. And so I don't know, it was just my daughter um, said the same thing. She felt that the whole area was just really, really pretty. And because of that, knowing what happened there and that the evil um, that transpired there is really hard to wrap your head around. But of course, we all know that it did, and just just crazy. But when we arrived, I was so excited because I couldn't wait to meet Deb from Deb's True Crime Notebook and Purdue RN. And Purdue and Deb and I had been chatting and was supposed to meet up with them anyway. And so when I got to the when I got to Delphi, I have to tell you this story because it's absolutely freaking hilarious, you guys. You're just not going to believe this. For those of you that aren't aware, Delphi, Indiana is known for their bacon. They have a huge bacon festival in August. Um, Pork is just where it's at there, and of course, we have Indiana Packers right down the way from Delphi, and it is a pork processing plant. And so it's just big on pork. Well, we left here from home about 6:30 in the morning. And we knew we were going to have a few stops along the way. So we didn't want to be late and we wanted to make sure that we got there in time and all of that. So we left with plenty of time, but we also lost an hour. So there's a time change from here to there. So we knew that was part of it as well. But anyway, so when we arrived in Delphi, we were hungry. We'd had coffee and tea. I had my chai tea on the way, and the girls were wanting to have something to eat or grab a bite to eat before we went out to the trail. So we're driving around Delphi and we're looking for a place to eat, and everything was closed. Nothing was open. I'm like, what's going on? They had some sort of festival thing going on. Oh, Deborah, I'm so glad you got it. Yay. I'm sorry I missed you, but you're very, very welcome. I was just not sure what was happening. And I know that sometimes back home here in some of the smaller cities, the weekends can be things can kind of close up because people are out, at games for the high schools and, just doing their own other things. And so sometimes places aren't open, but I was just floored. I was like, there was nothing open. So we kept looking, and finally we found the Office Tavern, and it was open. So we were like, okay, well, let's go there. They probably got tavern food. It's not a big deal. And so we went over, and it's right across the street from the courthouse. And I walk inside, and there's this big giant of a man standing there looking at me. And he's like, hello. He goes, they have seating, but it's all the way back in the back. And I go, oh, okay. So I'm just kind of looking. And I mean, this place, there was standing room only. It was packed to the brim with people. So I go back. The girls had to go to the bathroom, so I went back and got the table, and I sit down, and this wonderful woman comes walking over to me, and she welcomes me to the place, and she looks at me and she says, "Are you here for the hog nuts and fish?" And I said, "What?" She said, "Are you guys here for the hog nuts and fish?" And I said, "Well, I don't know. Um, we were kind of wanting to grab a bite to eat." And she said, "Well, um, the kitchen is closed today because we have a special going on, and it's just fried hog nuts and fried fish." And I said, "Oh." Why, by this time, the girls had got back to the table with me, and we were sitting here, and they had heard what was being said, and everybody was staring at us. Everybody was looking at us. And I know that they were looking at us because we were out of towners, and they knew instantly that we were out of towners because I'm like, "What the hell are hog nuts, you guys?" And so I look at her and I said to her, "What are hog nuts?" And she goes, "Exactly what they sound like." And I'm like, "Oh." And there was a guy sitting behind me, directly behind me, and he said, "It's okay. You need to try them. They're really, really good." Um, it's pig testicles, Mitzi. That's what hog nuts are. Pig testicles. And she's like, "They're really super tender. It's the most tender meat of the pig." And she says, "And we fry them, and it's very similar to eating a tenderloin." And I'm like, "Oh my God, I'll never think of a tenderloin in the same fashion again in my life." Um, but they were $8 for a basket of half fried fish and half of the hog nuts. And the three of us look at each other, and we're just kind of like, we didn't want to be rude and just get up and leave. So we ordered a basket. We ordered one basket. And everybody, they were really hungry. I wasn't super hungry, but I was like, I just didn't want to be rude. So we're sitting there and waiting. So when they brought them, they actually didn't look bad. They just looked like little tiny fried tenderloins. I mean, like they had been like, you guys know that I don't know if you know, but in the Midwest, tenderloins are a really big thing. And it's a part of the pig, and they pound them and make them super thin, bread them, and fry them. So, anyway, I ate them, and they were good. And I had, I think, two of them, and then I was done. I was like, I don't need any more. I've done tried it, and it was fine. Hey, bossy. Um, so good to see you. I understand being busy, trust me. Um, and so the fish was fantastic. It was phenomenal. The fish was really good. Um, but yeah, that was my initiation and experience in Delphi at a restaurant for the first time. And I will never forget it. But like we said, at least, at least we tried it and it was fine. And Tech Death, that is absolutely hilarious. Oh my God, Frank, you're hilarious. Oh my God. So anyway, um, I had to tell that story because I mean, had it not happened, I don't think that I would have believed it myself, honestly. I've never had anyone, just look at you so matter-of-factly and ask you if you were there for the hog nuts. Anyway, I've heard of beer nuts. I will say that. Um, oh, good Lord. Um, oh, geez. Anyway, so then we left there and we made it out to the trails. And there I met Frank Meister, who you guys, Frank is an amazing guy. We all know that, but he's hilarious and fun and kind and all the things that you guys would just imagine of him. Hey, Charmaine. Thank you. So, anyway, I got to meet Deb. I got to meet Purdue RN. I met Rescue the Dog, all the dogs. Um, and I met Mark, who's a follower of mine. I met Joe from the from the grave to the from the stone to the grave, I think. Frank Meister, what's the name of Joe's channel? And I just met some really, really cool people. And you guys know that I'm close to and have always been close to Who's Your Cold Case. I'm a huge fan of his. I was a fan of his Stories of the Stone. Yes. Oh my gosh. So amazing. Kimosabi was there, Otto, and yeah, Stories of the Stone is Joe. But anyway, so we were all there, and I was we started walking towards the bridge, and I was thinking about Hoosier, and I was like, nobody had said anything about Hoosier being there, and I hadn't talked to him before I left. So I texted him and I said, hey, are you coming to the walk today? I'm in Delphi. And I texted that to him. So anyway, we continued on our walk, and hey, Brittany, how are you? How are you, my dear? Everybody say hello to Brittany's World. She's my daughter. She went with me to Delphi with my other daughter. So, yeah, we had a good time. So, hey, Butterfly Kisses, how are you? He is an amazing person, Shadowbox. He really is. So, I got really emotional as we were walking, and I was thinking about things that had transpired that day. When we got to the T at the trailhead where the girls had been dropped off at the Mears property and walked, all stopped and kind of just took all of that in. We took a group photo there, and it was really eerie to me. One of the things that really made me mad or upset me was seeing that beautiful memorial that everyone had over the years had left little mementos to the girls. When they redid the bridge, if you guys remember, they took all that stuff down. The city did. They took it all down and all away. They said they didn't want that there, that they were going to do something for the girls elsewhere. And that just made me really angry, because it's right below the Mary Gerard Nature Preserve sign. And it's just a little spot. It's a little space. And it just makes me angry that they won't allow people that want to drop things off there to just leave them. She is like, well, I was thinking about Randy, because I've watched his walks all these years. I've always wanted to go, but I knew I couldn't make it. I knew there was no way I was gonna be able to walk it. And, because of my surgery and the weight loss and everything that's been going on, I knew I was gonna be able to do it. My torn meniscus in my left knee is the culprit that's really caused the issues, but I was really able to do it, and I was really happy about that. Um, so I get to the bridge. We make it to the bridge, and I have to tell you guys, I mean, I've said it for a long, long time. I have a horrible fear of heights and terrifying fear of heights, truly. And I walked right out onto the bridge. I walked right out onto that bridge. Now, I would never have done it had they not redone the bridge. There's no way, absolutely no way that I would have ever been able to do that. But I walked right out on there because I made it a point that I needed to do that. And I walked to the first platform and I looked towards the curve and the bend in the creek around to where the girls would have been found. And it was just, like I said, gorgeous and beautiful and serene. And it's just, it's so hard to describe. It reminds me of most anything that you see in pictures that doesn't do it justice until you're actually there. The emotion of all of the videos that I've watched over the years, the very first ones that I really remember um, giving me a really good idea of what it was like, what the terrain was like, and what it truly was like out there was Hoosier Cold Case's boots on the ground videos. And when he did those, it really brought home to me what it must have felt like and been like out there. But it's nothing compared to actually going there and seeing it, you guys, truly. So anyway, I'm standing there and we're talking and people are talking and um Purdue RN and Deb wanted and Rescue the Dog, all the dogs wanted me to take some photographs at the end of the bridge, um, which is the new part where they redid it, and you go up to that part, and then past that is the old bridge. And they wanted me to take some pictures and some photographs there with them. So we did that. And it was fun and great. And after that, we started to walk back towards the middle of the bridge. And there was a whole bunch of people that I'd already met that were standing around talking. And I looked up, and here, leaning against the railing on the bridge, was this person who I thought I knew. And I'm looking at him, and he's got a true crime recliner t-shirt on. But I'm looking at him and I'm like, I know who this is. And I realized that it was Hoosier. And he was just standing there, and I was like right in front of him. And he was talking and he was looking around and talking to people and stuff. And then all of a sudden he noticed me. Like I'm really hard to miss. And he noticed me, and at that time he realized who I was. And it was incredible to see him and to get to see him, and that he was there. He hadn't even gotten my text. He was just there. And it was pretty cool, pretty doggone cool. I'm one of his biggest fans, and um, I really was looking forward to getting a chance to see him. Frank Meister and Deb and Purdue and everybody that I met were so genuine and kind. And being out there with all of them, and I can't tell you how emotional it is. It reminded me, the emotion and the sadness reminded me of how I felt when I was 17 and went to Hawaii, and went to the, USS Arizona Memorial. Standing there, that immense sadness that just overtakes you because you know what occurred here. And it's like being on hallowed ground, I think, is kind of how I feel about that. So like I said, I got to see the deer path that's right off the north end of the bridge, which I did a show on with Skip Jansen, and where we talked about that path, and that we felt that that path was highly significant to the crime, which I still believe to this day. Um, I believe that he stepped off that bridge and went onto that path a ways while the girls passed by, and then came out and went up onto the bridge behind them. And that's my feeling as to how that took place. I could be wrong, but that's how I feel and that's how I see it. Um, I am glad that I got to make the trip. I'm glad that I got to go and see for myself. Um, I was very sad that I didn't get to meet Becky, because they happened to leave Saturday morning for vacation. And so I did not get to see her this time. But I am planning on going back and spending a couple of days. It was such a whirlwind of a trip. Um, we stayed overnight and we left Sunday afternoon, but um, I was a little disappointed as well that I missed being able to see the Flora house by 4 days. I think they took the house down 4 days before I was there. Um, and now it's just a hole in the ground. So yeah, just had a wonderful time. I Like I said, it was very emotional. I cried when I got out onto the bridge. I stood by myself for a little bit and just cried. Let the tears come because I I knew that I probably would be that way. Um, just to think about all that transpired that day and the fear that they must have felt and the terror and how their lives ended and the families and how the families are still just broken and hurting so badly from what transpired that day. It was all about the girls. I didn't Even when I was in, Delphi, I really didn't have any concern or whatever about Richard Allen. I didn't go by his house. I didn't go to see the house. I was all thinking about Abby and Libby. I wanted the weekend to be about them. I didn't want it to be about anything else. Um, you guys know how I feel about that, but I think that there's been so much said and done over time about this case, and there's a lot going on right now that is just horrible, and that's all I can say. The the creators that think that it's okay to draw photographs of crime scene photos and put them out on the internet and talk about them and lay out exactly what happened to each one of those girls is beyond, it's pornographic to me. People talk about what pornographic is. What they're doing to me is pornographic. Stop and think about your own children or grandchildren or nieces or nephews. And if that was them, would you want somebody making content off of um, their crime scene photos? Who does that? Who thinks that's okay? I want you to know that I've reported those content creators to YouTube. Probably nothing is going to happen to them, but I still feel that it's my duty to do that, because what they're doing is disgusting. And people who follow them need to really take a look at themselves in the mirror. I frankly don't give a crap what people think about me calling them out on this, because this to me oversteps every boundary and every line that's out there. We have no right to this stuff. The only people who have rights to see this stuff are the family members and the judge and the jurors in a court of law. And that's just how I feel. We're talking about innocence here. Innocence that was robbed and stolen by this man who, you know, led them down a hill to their death and their ultimate ending of their lives. And it just sickens me. And I talked to Fig. I don't know if you guys happen to get to see Fig on Sleuth Intuition's channel, but if you haven't got to see that, make sure you go watch it, because it's a really, really good interview that Sleuth did with Fig. And I really, I can't say enough about him and how much I respect him as a content creator and as a victim's family member. He knows what it feels like to be that person and have that family member that was murdered. Fig knows. And he doesn't ever want to do anything that is going to bring additional heartache and pain to the family. Unlike some that are here on YouTube and Facebook and Reddit and all the other social media platforms, TikTok, whatever, that are only doing this to pad their egos and to possibly line their pockets. So I did want to say that. There is a court hearing that's going to happen on the 31st, and which is my birthday. I can't believe that it is going to be an entire year has gone by since Richard Allen was arrested. Oh, Mitzi, thank you. Tell Sleuth that same. I respect him so much, and what he tries to do, and I know that he has the girls and the families in his heart as well. Are we perfect? No. We've all made mistakes as content creators, and we have all said or done things that we thought later better of. You know, maybe we shouldn't have covered that. Maybe we shouldn't have covered it in that way. But learning from your mistakes and not continuing to do them over and over again is where that's at. And so when you see these people continually doing the same things over and over and over again, it makes you realize what their true motivation is. So yeah, there's going to be a court hearing next Tuesday. Um, Not sure what's going to transpire there. Hopefully, she will have appointed new attorneys. I don't know that she's going to get it done that soon, that fast. We all have, Frank, all of us, and we learn from them and we move on and we try not to do that again because none of us are perfect. And I'm not trying to say that anybody out there, should be. That's not what this is about, but you know what I'm talking about. We talked about it this weekend. And there's just people out there that are doing really, really messed up and bad things. And the content creator that took it upon themselves because they're a quote unquote artist and thought that it was okay for them to go out there and draw the girls, it's just sickening. And I don't understand people that want to watch that kind of content. I never will. I just never will. But yeah, it was an eye-opening weekend. It was a time to reflect on almost 7 years of this case. It's going to be over 7 years before we have a resolution, I'm afraid. And it's just going to be interesting to see how things play out. I know, as we were talking this weekend, some of the consensus is that there will be a plea deal eventually in this case. But and we'll just have to wait and see because nobody knows for sure what's going to transpire here. And it is a waiting game and a wait and see kind of thing. There's a lot going on in the Idaho case, you guys. They are asking for the charges to be dropped. And hang on a second. I wanted to look at something here. Hold on, guys. I wanted to bring this up because there's so many correlations that seem to be going on with this case, with these two cases in court. It's just really strange. But the prosecutor in Brian's case demanded the customer information from Amazon that was related to the purchase of knives as part of their investigation. And that was in newly unsealed court documents. They obtained search warrants earlier this year for customer accounts at multiple companies, including Amazon, Apple, and PayPal. The name of the customer is redacted from the documents along with the details of what was found. The information demanded from Amazon in May included all detailed customer click activity pertaining to knives and accessories. The investigators received information from Amazon in June, and the court documents show that Apple and PayPal also sent information requested in the warrants, according to the documents. Everybody knows that at this point in time, Brian Kohberger's DNA is a statistical match for the DNA that was found on the sheath of a knife at the crime scene that was laying next to Maddie Mogan. And according to the court documents filed earlier this year, the weapon has never been found. The trial was due to start the beginning of October, but that date was vacated when Kohberger waived his right to a speedy trial, and they have not set a new trial date. And Kaylee Gonsalves' father came out and said that he feels justice is being delayed during this nerve-wracking wait for a trial date. And he said they're trying to be patient, but it does make it a little bit more stressful. You've got your time in court, make it happen. The sooner we get this going, the sooner we get to the truth. Kaylee's father said in a message directed at the suspected killer during an interview on CNN. The Gonsalves family attorney Shannon Gray said that he expects a trial date to be set once motions are heard next month. If you have a date that you can at least look forward to, it's helpful for all the families involved knowing that you're moving towards that day. You're moving towards that end goal for a possible resolution of the case. There is word on the street that the next court date will have the defense asking to have the case against Brian Kohberger dismissed for lack of evidence. So, with that being said, I see the same thing happening in Delphi because of everything that's gone on, and it's going to be very interesting when the new attorneys are in place on what their ask is going to be and the motions that they're going to file as they try to gain a handle on this case and where it's going to go. But you can definitely tell why this would be so hard for the families. You know, emotionally, they had their sights set on a January 8th trial starting. And here we are with no trial date, no attorneys representing the suspect who's been arrested for the crimes. And without representation, nothing can go forward. Nothing can move forward. So it will be interesting to see. There has been a lot that has gone on. I do not see Fran Gull dismissing this case. I think there's plenty of evidence that points to probable cause. So I don't see that happening. But, you know, there has been so many left turns and veering off of what we thought we knew and where we thought we were headed in this case. I'm not going to put anything out there that's not a possibility, because at this point in time, this has become almost the circus of a case because of all the different things that have transpired and gone on. I believe that she has a really good record as a judge, and I think that she is tough, and I don't think she's going to allow a lot of what's been transpiring. I think that when she appoints the new attorneys, she's going to set them down and say, look, the stuff that was going on before will not be tolerated at all going forward. I've heard people talking about how it's really easy to have things leak in cases and whatever and whatnot. I don't know that that is necessarily true. I think that it does happen. Should it happen? Is there a moral code that should be followed? We definitely know there's an ethical one, and that when they take the bar exam, that ethical code is huge, and that they are supposed to be following certain ethics when it comes to their handling not only of evidence, but how they portray themselves. And when there's a gag order on on a case, it's put in the gag order. Hey, Steve, how are you, my dear? It's so good to see you, and I missed you this weekend. I really missed you. Thought about you. We talked about you in Ruckus. We did. Um, it's hard to tell when you see some of the things that go on, what the motivation behind it is. Now that Steve's in here, I want everybody to know he did an absolutely fantastic live stream. Go find the live stream that he did this past Saturday. I think it was Saturday night, where he shows the um he uses Mrs. Steve as his guinea pig in one of his testings. He was testing to see what it was like to drag a body. And he used her to do it through the woods. And it was, he filmed it. Um Aw. Is Ruckus our Willard? Yeah, I know you're old enough to remember Willard. We're all around the same age, Ruckus, you and I, so I know you're old enough to remember that. But anyway, this experiment that he did was phenomenal, and as always, he's always able to explain things so well and eloquently for everyone to understand. And unfortunately, most of the time lately, I've just had to watch his stuff on replay, but because I've just been so doggone busy. But she's amazing. You tell her how much we love her for what she's willing to put herself out there for you. I mean, here. And then didn't you say that you kind of dropped her at one point? I bet she was sore after all of that. That's all I can say. I can't even imagine being drugged through the forest and all the leaf litter and everything that she was drugged through. But Steve and Ruckus are amazing, and I can't say enough about either one of them and what they do. And I'm glad that we have people like them in this community that go the distance and beyond for these cases. Um, well, knowing you made sure she got her ice cream. I can't picture you not making sure she got her ice cream. I think the F tree is kind of funny because I don't see an F there. And again, I think it's pareidolia. I think it's what people choose to want to see, and that's what they see. Because I see more of a smear or blood splatter. That's kind of what I see it as. But I'm going to definitely watch Steve's live later tonight because I want to see what he had to say about the tree. But I am not, I'm one of these people that's just not buying into the Odinism angle of this defense stuff. Frankly, because I followed the case since day one, and we knew about this person that they name in their document, and his practicing of Odinism We knew about all of this. I saw his Facebook. I saw all of the photographs. One of my moderators on my Reddit sub deep dove him like there was no tomorrow. She turned him in. She turned him into the tip line multiple times, when she would find certain things. So I believe that they were all vetted by law enforcement. And I'm not one to believe that the law enforcement in this case is that incompetent. I think that there were mistakes made, but I think there's mistakes made in every case. And I don't think that we can sit back and be a Monday morning quarterback and chastise them the way that things have been chastised over all these years. Just because things don't play out the way we want them to or think they should doesn't mean that law enforcement hasn't given their all. Yep. That's what I was kind of thinking. So Steve agrees with me. And like I said, pareidolia is a thing, you guys. It's true, it's real. It's not junk science, it's not fake, it's true. We all see things differently, and we all see things according to what we want to see. So people who over the years that we're seeing blown up teddy bears and dolls and all this other thing that was, in the woods, it's because it's what they wanted to see. It's not because of what was there. The fact that Bridge Guy was carrying a puppy under his jacket. I mean, there's just so many things, you guys, that we could talk about what people think they saw and what they, and what they really saw, or what was really going on there. The Bridge Guy video and the photographs have been analyzed by everyone under the sun on social media. Breaking down what coat he was wearing. Was it a Carhartt? Was it, was it some other coat? Was it a coat from Chrysler? Was it a coat from, whatever? I mean, were there patches on the coat? Was there law enforcement patches on the coat? I mean, we've been through it all, you guys. People thought they saw this stuff. And hey, Deb, how are you, my dear? My beautiful friend. Oh, it's okay. No problem at all. You're here. I'm glad I get to see you. Steve, I need to have you on soon because I got some questions that I want to ask you. So he said that Mrs. Steve goes through a lot of Tyvek. Hopefully she will come out with her own designer line. Oh my goodness. Well, she's certainly a dear for putting up with all your antics and helping. I love the fact that she's so helpful and wants to be a part of it because it's important. The work you're doing is important. It helps us to have a better understanding of crime scenes and how things yeah. I mean, there's just so much, like I said, that you guys do, and it's helped to answer a lot of questions that I've had about the crime scene. So I feel like even the sticks and all of that was an attempt by Bridge Guy to cover the bodies in a quick, haphazardly manner. And Is it possible that he was trying to make it symbolize something? Of course it is. We just don't know. There's no information out there to us that Richard Allen even understands or knows Odinism or what runes are or any of that. If he does, then sure, he could have been possibly, trying to make that crime scene appear to be something that it's not. I believe that, and I've believed that since day one because of Robert Ives telling us so, that the crime scene appeared to be staged. He said that. And then we got the truth from the Ron Logan search warrant where the FBI actually came out and said for sure that the crime scene had been staged. So Odinists don't stage the crime scene to look like Odinism. We need to stop and use common sense. I know sometimes common sense isn't common, but we just need to. Sometimes it's the simplest of answers, and it's not some convoluted, jigsaw puzzle of an answer. So I, hang on a minute, guys. So we do not use the individuals in the defense's documents names in my channel. These people are innocent. They've never been arrested for anything relating to these crimes. And I don't want to be part of the people that are ruining their lives. And I believe that too. I had said, Steve, you're right, because I had believed that early on when I was going through. I believe the state police and the FBI had a difference of opinion versus the opinion of the sheriff's department and local law enforcement. Because I believe the sheriff's department and local law enforcement, Delphi City, did not believe that Ron Logan was responsible for this crime. But I think that the FBI was thinking he was, and possibly the state police was thinking he was. And you're not going to have all these different jurisdictions 100% in agreement. Daisy, that is a really good question as to why people feel the need to investigate or insert themselves into an investigation. In this case, because it's so high profile, and you get invited onto national news outlets to be the quote unquote face of the case, that plays directly to people's egos. And yes, I'm talking about the murder sheet. There's just been so many things that have happened all around that. Like I said, to claim that you're an expert on something when you've only been really looking at the case since right before it was announced about the Kleins and about Kagan Klein's arrest, give me a break. They were nowhere on the social spectrum of this case, nowhere until then. But they make it sound like they have been here since day one, when the rest of us have been. Oh, Frank Meister, I tell you, I am just sick of it. I really am. Every time I turn on any national news to watch anything on Delphi, there they are. And I'm just like, it's just, and it makes me angry because when they do talk about, oh, I believe they're leakers. So I'm talking about leakers too. um, because you can insert yourself in a case in a number of different ways. So I go back to last summer when all this stuff was happening with Kagan Klein and a couple of people that had reached out to me for help that thought they had inside information. One of them turns out that they did. I put them in contact with Perry Freeman, Faxx, because I thought Perry would be able to help this person. And Perry told us last summer, loose lips sink ships. And just because you know information or are privy to information that nobody else knows doesn't mean you should open your mouth and disseminate it. And most often, if there's already been an arrest made in the case, chances are you need to keep your mouth shut. And unless law enforcement has talked about it or the court has talked about it, you probably shouldn't say anything. So I'm surprised and on oh, I agree with you, Sherry Faye. I think that if anything, what what the defense in this case did was exactly what they set out to do. Is they wanted to get their narrative of Richard Allen's innocence out there, and there was a gag order on the case, so it made it difficult for them to do it in a proper way. Because how else were they going to do it? They put together this 134-page memorandum that was a joke and laid out their entire case. And by doing so, it can taint the jury pool because people saw that, people heard it, it's everywhere. It's been all over the airwaves. Everybody's talked about it. And I do believe that they at some point Nick McClelland's going to have to debunk the Odinism stuff, and I'm assuming he's going to do that in court. I'm proud of how he's handled himself in this case. I was worried about him in the beginning and as whether or not he had the moxie to handle everything with the case, but I think he's done a bang-up job, and especially with everything that's transpired in the last 6 weeks around this case. Yeah, exactly, Mitzi. Which, you know, that's one of the things that we are entitled to as defendants in this country is appeals. So if he is convicted of this crime, he's entitled to appeal it. And I love it because Frank Meister has been to the hearings. He sits in the hearings. He watches what's going on. He doesn't miss anything, and he can tell us exactly what transpired and how, um, how they are reacting to one another, how they're reacting to each other. But yeah, I really don't see us having a trial before the fall of next year. I really, really don't. I would be really surprised because the new attorneys coming in have to actually do their own investigations and all the things that defense attorneys have to do to prepare a case. And I know that Doug Carter said to us that there were a lot of tentacles with this case, but I don't think that that necessarily means what people thought it meant. But just remember, loose lips sink ships. I mean, that's one of the things that I will always hold near and dear that Cop Faxx taught me was you don't always talk about what you know. And ethics plays a part in this. And if you're unethical and you're not going to, how we cover these cases matter. How we talk about these cases matters. The legacy of the girls, um, it matters. This is all about them. Just like I said, the whole weekend in Delphi was all about the girls. And it's about those two beautiful souls and how they were brutally taken from this earth. And we need justice for them. We demand justice for them. I've had a lot of people that I've met over the years on this case. Some are not following it any longer because the case has been so crazy, emotional and crazy they can't even do it anymore. So they don't even follow the case anymore. I can't do that because I kind of dug my heels in the very beginning and I feel like I need to see this case out. Um and I want justice. I want it for Abby and Libby. I want it for Anna. I want it for the Erskines. I want it for Mike and Becky and Kelsey and Cody and Derek and Carrie. I want it for all of them. And Tara. Because their lives were completely upended and still are to this very day. Anniversaries are hard. Awesome, Frank. Someone asked Frank if he was attending the mini crime con in Indy this past Saturday with the murder sheet, Rick Snay, and others. And I said no, because the girls and the memorial walk was more important. Hear, hear. If these people truly cared about Abby and Libby, they would have been there on Saturday instead of at some crime con thing selling their wares, trying to get people to follow their podcasts and their shows. But it'll be, like I said, it will be interesting. I, you know, I people say a lot of things about Gray Hughes. But, you know, Gray's about Faxx. Gray's about the girls. He's about not doing things to hurt the families. Beyond that, I'm not going to be the YouTube police on him. But I will say that about him. He's at least factual. And that's what we need. We just need more content creators that are factual and that want to be here for the right reasons. So I didn't have a whole lot to talk about with you guys tonight. I wanted to talk to you about the weekend, how it made me feel, how happy I was to finally make it there, because I've wanted to go for so long and couldn't do it, and was able to. And I'm so proud that I was able to be there and that I finally got to meet these wonderful people that um that I've known all this time. We will never know how the constant coverage of Bridge Guy's image may have kept him from seeking other victims. Much respect to all the YouTubers. And that's the truth. Keeping the cases out there, because when you focus on a case and you keep it out there and you keep the narrative going and you keep it in the public eye, as long as the case has not been solved and they don't have the suspect, you can absolutely save lives by keeping that person worried about possibly being caught and seeking other victims. Ween Baby, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for saying that. There are a lot of smaller YouTube content creators that are amazing, and they're here for the right reasons. That's why they're small. So, I mean, I'm not, I obviously I do YouTube and I'm a YouTube creator and all of that. And there's a misnomer out there that we make tons of money doing YouTube, and we don't. One of the things about YouTube, with the genre that we're in, advertisers don't want to advertise on people who cover these kinds of topics. So, it's some of them do and some of them don't. And as far as Evansdale goes, there's not a day goes by that I don't think about Drew and what him and his family is going through. And I really pray that all the work that Ruckus and True Crime Web are doing behind the scenes with Evansdale brings about something, because I believe that the person responsible for Evansdale is hiding in plain sight over there, just like the person was hiding in plain sight in Delphi. Oh, Melissa, thank you so much. That is so kind of you. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. Everybody, please make sure that you check out Deb's True Crime Notebook for me. She is amazing, and she has such great content. So, I mean, she truly is one of the best. So make sure you subscribe to her channel. And hold on a second here. I want to drop some stuff. Hold on a sec, guys. Sorry. Oh. My computer seems to be a little bit slow, and I'm not sure why, but hold on a second here. Mhm. Copy. Thank you, Frank. I was trying to put it in there. You beat me to it. Um, yeah. Um, yeah, Elizabeth and Lyric, they've been waiting too long. Their case has been open and for too long, and they deserve justice. It's so maddening to think that these types of people can get away with this and go on to live their lives and possibly have hurt other people that we don't even know, you know? It's really it's really sad. It's really sad. But but yeah, I I'm glad that I was able to I love you too, Deb. Um oh, Gonzo, I love you so much. So glad that you were here. Be safe out there, please. I will talk to you soon. Guys, Gonzo's been doing some really amazing things. He's working behind the scenes um, on some cases that are near and dear to our hearts as well. And he doesn't do this for the accolades. Um, you know, he is an angel on this earth, and Gonzo is amazing. Much love back to you, my dear. but but yeah, guys, I just wanted to come on and give you a rundown on how I felt after being out there and all of that, and now I can actually picture everything a little bit better in my mind because of having been there. So my heart goes out to Randy for everything that he does. Randy Gravett is another YouTuber who um, you know, has done so much for the girls over the years. You know, putting together the walks, doing his channel where he really tries to focus on the girls. Um, he does amazing things, and he is he's just a big teddy bear. I don't know how to describe it any better than that. He's just a big teddy bear. I just adore him. He's wonderful. He's had some health issues recently, so our prayers are always with him. I want him to you know, to heal and do better and feel better. But yeah, love me some Randy Gravett. Thanks, Joyce. Thank you so much. Um, but yes, it's very beautiful out there and serene and very peaceful and very sad. It's very sad. But my heart goes out to all the families and family members. I hope next week we might get some good news in the case. I will be watching, obviously. Um, I won't be live on Tuesday next week because it's my birthday and it's Halloween, and you guys will all be out passing out candy or with your trick or treaters, I hope. So anyway, I will see you guys all very soon, I promise. And I hope that you guys have a great rest of your week. Try to stay true to the case. Pick and choose the content that you watch. And be safe out there and pay it forward whenever you get the chance. It doesn't take anything to be kind. Good night, everybody, and have a great evening.